Hi everybody, it's Lori Wetzel here with the next installment of Tech Tip Tuesdays, and this week's Tech Tip is going to focus on Apple TV. Hopefully things have kind of settled down and Apple TV is working well for you, but this Tech Tip will hopefully help to ensure that it continues to work well for you. You're familiar with this screen that you see right here, and one of the first things you need to be aware of is that if you do not see your room number appearing on the list when you tap on AirPlay, this is something that immediately needs to go into the tech portal and needs to be addressed by the tech department. Assuming that you see your correct room number, I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with the process for connecting. In order to connect your iPad to your particular room number, you are used to tapping on the name of your room, so in this instance it is RMS Media Center. You are also familiar with what happens next. From here, you are prompted for your on-screen code, and that is the 4-digit number that you need to type in order to AirPlay. From here, you type in the 4-digit code, such as the one you see here. Once you have typed in your 4-digit code, you're ready to start mirroring, and you're going to slide the little slider over so that you are mirroring. And if you are correctly associated or connected to the Apple TV device, you're going to see this little check mark. That doesn't seem to be an issue for many people. What comes next tends to be the issue, and that is disconnecting, and I am just as guilty of this as anybody else. And when it comes to disconnecting, this area up here is key. Before I realized it was wrong, all I was doing is sliding the slider over in mirroring, and I thought I was disconnected. This is not the case. If all you do is slide the slider over for mirroring and the checkbox still appears next to the name of the Apple TV device you were connected to, your iPad is still associated with that particular Apple TV device. What you need to do in order to connect is click and tap on this iPad area up here. That will make sure that you properly disassociate from your Apple TV device. This device was properly disassociated, and you'll notice now next to iPad, the check mark is no longer next to RMS Media Center. The check mark is now next to iPad. Now you're ready to connect another device. Before you attempt to connect a different device to the Apple TV, make sure that you wait 30 seconds. If you don't wait the 30 seconds, you'll see this happen. This is exactly the same code that I, as the teacher, used to get onto the Apple TV. Because I got the same code, or the student attempting to connect got the same code, that tells me that I didn't wait long enough and the disassociation didn't completely happen. So what you need to do is make sure you wait the 30 seconds, and in waiting the 30 seconds, you should see a completely different 4-digit code. If you as a teacher connected using the code in the previous screen, you properly disconnected, waited the 30 seconds, and then the student saw this code right here, you know you're good to go, and that student can get into the Apple TV using this 4-digit code and be successful. This next tip has to do with your iPad falling asleep while you're doing a presentation. Your iPad falling asleep has to do with this auto lock setting. And many of you probably have it set at 2 minutes or 5 minutes or something along those lines. And what that means is if there's no activity on your iPad for 2 minutes, it goes dark. And 1 minute after that, the wireless radio that is inside your iPad shuts off and automatically disassociates your iPad from the Apple TV. While we're teaching, we certainly don't want this to happen, so there is a solution for this. Rather than setting your auto lock to 2 minutes or 5 minutes, particularly while you are presenting to students, consider going into General and into the auto lock feature and selecting Never. This will ensure that your iPad does not fall asleep and when it doesn't fall asleep, it can't lose the connection to the Apple TV. What if a student leaves your room without properly disassociating their iPad with your Apple TV? You don't necessarily have any way of knowing which student it is, and if that is the case, you need to go in and physically restart the Apple TV. In order to do that, you're going to use your Apple TV remote, and you're going to go to Settings, this area right here. Within the Settings menu, you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom until you see the Restart area. In order to disassociate that iPad that has now left your room, you need to make sure you go to the Restart option, and that should clear out the Apple TV and now allow you and your students to connect. Again, word of warning, do not reset, make sure you restart. Last but not least, there are some known audio and video issues where the iPad and connecting to the Apple TV is concerned. One of them has to do with playing a video such as a YouTube video. When you press play, there will be a slight delay, and the video will pop up on the screen but will not be visible on your iPad. Please do not try to change the display settings on your device while it's playing on the Apple TV. That will probably cause issues for you and your iPad. Please also be aware that there are some apps that just do not work with Apple TV. The apps were actually coded that way in the background. So if you do encounter an issue, feel free to ask if it's a possibility that the app is the problem. Hopefully this gave you some helpful tips and tricks for dealing with Apple TV. Please reach out to your building media techs for assistance, and you know where to find me if you have any questions. Have a great day.